Amen.
Don Jr., Ted and I have spent a lot of time talking on the Nightly News. You and I, back in 2016 with Ted, trying to get conservative hunters, gun owners, conservationists out to the polls. For some reason, in the data, which Ted and I it was brought to our attention by your dad back in 2016, and you really, for whatever reason, hunters, the demographic that we all associate with most of the time, statistically, they don't vote in big numbers. And if they do, they always vote those conservative values that Ted talks about here every night: God, family, country, law and order, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. And so in 2016 and 2020, Ted and I worked really hard to turn out hunter conservative votes. We're doing that right now. We talked about it earlier. MSNBC actually highlighted a group that we're all working with, Hunter Nation and Hunt the Vote, as actually trying to make the marginal difference in some of these critical states like Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan. What would be your message to the hunters out there that oftentimes just set out elections due to apathy?
Well, listen, I mean, clearly, there's overlap with the Second Amendment community there, and the Democrats have shown you exactly what they feel about the Second Amendment, right? But you don't think deer season's on the table eventually? The same people that are trying to ban any kind of, hunting beyond deer. So no, it's never we're never going to go after deer season next. Like, we got to get out there. Like, if we think that they're not coming after hunting, like, I'd say hunting to these people is probably a bigger red flag than anything that you could ever have in the Second Amendment community, maybe outside of, full auto class 3 stuff that, the idiots making the legislation on don't even understand or could comprehend. If hunters think that they're going to leave hunting alone and they just want to be left alone in the fall and November, and trust me, that I hunt for that same peace and quiet and solitude, but like, that is all on the table, folks. Like, there's 100% chance that these people will it's death by 1,000 cuts. You see, they want to eliminate hound hunting, and then it's a little bit further. No, but we're never going after deer hunting. Sure. Like, you haven't gone after everything else that you said you weren't going to go after. That's what they do. They're smart. They take a little win, death by 1,000 cuts, little win, little win, little win. Then we wake up and it's too late, folks. You got to get involved. Just, beyond that, I've seen, I've spent a lot of time in hunting camps. I've spent a lot of time around those campfires. Some of the best times in the world really formed sort of my mindset on life. And I know these people share those values. Like, it takes 2 seconds. Get out there and vote. Like, you'd be insane not to. And I know that 99.9% of the people could look at the Democrat platform that I've ever been in hunting camp with. And again, not just people I'm traveling with, but people that I've met along the way that may not necessarily be even Republicans. Guys, look at what's going on. These are common sense people. Look at what's going on. And if you think that the Democrats represent even a modicum of common sense, then fine, vote that way. But like, common sense has been out the window for a long time, and we have to act accordingly.
Ted, you talk to hunters all the time. You're out on the trail trying to get hunters to vote. Why is it so important?
Well, obviously, what Don just articulated is 100% accurate. They have been already cutting back on freedom regarding hunting. For example, here in the state of Michigan, I've got about 1,000 boxes of shotgun shells behind me right here, and at least a few hundred of them have a picture of a mourning dove on it, because the mourning dove is the most hunted family hours of recreation, revenue-generating conservation activity in the world. More people spend more money and more hours dove hunting than anywhere else. And here in the once great state of Michigan, they lie, the DNR lie, and I made sure I let them know that we know they lie, that they call the mourning dove the #1 game species, not just the #1 game bird in the world, federal migratory game bird, the mourning dove, where we kill tens of millions of them every year because they're delicious and they have to balance the populations. And they call it a songbird. So they've eliminated a dove season in Michigan. Here in the state of Michigan, we have the most bow hunters than any state, than any jurisdiction on planet Earth. More bow hunters in Michigan, the great land of Fred Bear. And there are certain parks and areas of this state where you're not allowed to bow hunt, even though we've proven it's been effective and safe and perfectly proper in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia and all kinds of urban situations, because the deer herd has expanded into urban situations. And here in the state of Michigan, they still won't allow us to bow hunt where these deer are overpopulated, being slammed by cars every day, destroying the agriculture in a certain jurisdiction. And they, with our tax dollars, they hire sharpshooters to come in and shoot these deer at night with infrared over feeders while we're not even allowed to use feeders. We're not allowed to do any of that stuff. Those are our deer. So this is two examples of how this 1,000 cuts have already been slicing away. So hunters, and again, Keith, I think we've made a great impact. We saw the statistics back in 2016 when we created hunternation.org and huntthevote.org. I hope everybody joins me. Hunternation.org and huntthevote.org. And the percentage of hunters that didn't vote was not only shocking, but embarrassing. We have turned that tide, and we proved it in 2016. We proved it in Virginia. We proved it in North Carolina. We proved it in Texas with school board votes. We finally got these ultra-conservative demographic army to get up off their apathetic, embarrassing ass and vote. So everybody, if you're not voting your core values, the enemies of America would like to thank you. It's about voting that conservative lifestyle, conservative, conservation, constitution, freedom, the ultimate conservative voting army in the world, I believe, are licensed hunting families. But if you sit it out, shame on you. That is giving the country over to the enemy. So huntthevote.org and hunternation.org is where we circle the conservative wagons. And I hope we're circling them effectively right now.